This is Peter Christian Hessing, Pastor Peter Christian Hessing, and I hope you're having a great day and that you're seeking God and Jesus or Yahweh, Allah, Jehovah there. Everything is going well with you. If you're having a problem, remember always pray. There's a God there 24/7 that you can talk to and ask Him, communicate to Him. There's a living God, the true God who created this earth and universe is there. Some intelligent force must have created this universe. This universe could never have happened by accident. There is an intelligent force, an intelligent creative force that is there 24/7. It wants us. God created us. He doesn't want to destroy us. He wants to help us. So whatever problems you have, seek God as you read throughout history and throughout all the Bibles that man communicated to God, man prayed to God. You could have David here in the Psalms. I mean, the Psalms are like songs and prayers, man, where you have to communicate to God. David and Daniel, all these prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, they communicated, they talked to God and asked Him to help them overcome their problems. And Jesus constantly in prayer there through the Bible. And today I want to talk about what's happening in the world. There, we have the presidential elections there coming up, and we really have to end poverty. We have too much poor people in America and around the world. There are probably about 6 billion people who are poor around the world. And if we walk about the streets here in America, we see homeless people. I work as a licensed real estate agent, and I go a lot to California, Nevada, New York, and you just see people lying and sleeping on the street sidewalks because housing is too expensive. They can't afford housing. I was a social worker in New York for many years, and our job was to go around the city and talk to the homeless people. And we had a shelter where we would take them and they could take a shower. We could give them 2-3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we could also give them clean clothing, give them counseling. Some of them had drug problems. We would give them drug counseling and also job counseling. We would help them find jobs. Sometimes our company would employ them and train them as social workers and to go back out onto the streets and help other homeless people. So there's a tremendous poverty around the world that we really have to solve. As I've been saying all this time, that you have the big banks, the central banks, you have the World Bank and the IMF, which are very good institutions. We have the Federal Reserve here, you have the European Central Bank. And every country has a central bank. And it's very good that these banks like the World Bank and the IMF can lend money to save these governments from financial crisis. It's very good that they can lend money out. But what is happening now is that a lot of the loans that these countries are getting aren't really helping the people in the poor countries, like whether it's in Africa or Jamaica or in the Middle East or in Asia or in Europe. A lot of these loans don't really help the people because these loans just go to pay interest and to refinance other loans. So a lot of this money doesn't really help the poor people in the country. So I believe strongly that the IMF and the World Bank have to change some of their policies and give some of that money to the people themselves. I think the IMF, the World Bank, the European Central Bank, we have the Federal Reserve, all these major banks need to set up individual accounts. We have nearly 6 billion people in the world. They need to set up 6 billion individual accounts for all the poor peoples of the world so that people can get money to start a business. There could be a big website that every person in the world could have a business on a site. Every man, woman, and children could have a business on that site selling a product. If every person sold or made one product or two products, people would come out of poverty. A lot of people want to, they want to go into farming. Some of them want to raise cows and sheep, deer and goats and pigs and so forth. And some want to go into fishing and all that. Some people want to do farming, sell potatoes and lettuce and tomatoes and apples and pears and mangoes and rice and all that, do that farming. Some people want to just sell their own music that could bring them out of poverty. Some people want to write books and do paintings and make products. If everybody in the world sold or made one or two products, and we had a website that could help them sell these products, we could bring them out of poverty. And that would just require probably the World Bank and the IMF to invest probably $10 a year for 6 billion people in the world. That would probably be $60 billion, or $10 a year for 3 billion people in the world. That would be $30 billion. So that would help to bring these people out of poverty. And again, I'm talking about we need to have nuclear disarmament. We need to have a 24/7 system to prevent nuclear war by accident or malfunction or miscalculation. That is something that we are now proposing. I've written to a lot of the President Obama, the leaders in Prime Minister of Britain, David Cameron, and Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, and Angela Merkel, I've been to a lot of them, and the United Nations, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. I've written to him also, and the International Atomic Agency head, Mr. Amano, and recommending that we have this 24/7 inspection system of all the nuclear weapons in the world to prevent accidental nuclear war and have a treaty to reduce nuclear weapons in the world. As I told you about the system that we've invented and got a patent, applied for a patent on, we have got some copyrights on it, expanding system that can boomerang nuclear missiles. But we really need to bring all the countries, the Russians, Americans, Koreans, the Chinese, the Arabs, Jews, Sunnis, Shiites, there to end the wars in the Middle East, in Syria, there, and make peace in the world. All the people in Africa, Jamaica, African Americans, Jamaican Americans, bring them all together to make peace and stop the terrorism there. God in his 10 commandments, which I'm going to just read some of it here, Exodus 20, that God spake all these things. I am Jehovah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You must not have any other gods besides me. You must not make yourself a carved image of any form. You must not take up the name of Jehovah your God in a worthless way, for Jehovah will not leave unpunished the one who takes up his name in a worthless way. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live a long life on the land that Jehovah your God is giving you. You must not murder. You must not steal. You must not commit adultery. You must not testify falsely when you are a witness against your fellow man. You must not desire your fellow man's house or his wife or anything that belongs to your neighbors. So there again, God has laid out the principles that we have to stop the killing and make peace and love. Remember to look for my book, The 24/7 Safety Inspection to Save the World from Nuclear War and Global Warming. Thank you, God bless. And also for music, I have some music on Amazon.com that you can get. Give your hearts and life to Jesus and God. Peace and love. Thank you, God bless.